So what my plan is today is that we'll just pick up from where we are on Thursday and sort of carry on. I might also go over some of the ground that was discussed in the group chat as well. That might be a good place to start. The difference between I'll and I'd and that kind of thing. Did you see that? Did you see my recording? Did it make sense? Did you hear it rather?
Yeah, yes, we got it.
So I just thought it'd be faster to do a recording than to write out an answer, you know. It was first thing in the morning, you could probably tell from my accent. So we can also do some grammar, we can also do some vocabulary, and also happy to answer any questions you guys have got as well. So feel free to fire any questions at me. I'll maybe start off with some vocabulary and that'll sort of get us going. So let me share my screen first of all, so you can see my browser. There we go. Now, yeah, I'll go to maybe here. So I thought I'd start off with this word, phony, which came to my attention the other day. Do you remember last week we dealt with, or earlier this week, I think it was Thursday's class, we dealt with fraudulent and hypocritical and those kind of words. I thought phony is another word that you should know. You know, if you, I don't know if you did know it or not. Did anybody know phony already? Like if I say, can you explain what phony means? Do you know what it means? I mean, you can obviously read the definition there on the screen, but did you know it already ahead of time or not? So silence, I guess, means no, nobody's volunteering. So that's fair enough. Phony is not really used much at all in the UK, right? We don't really use this word, but the Americans use it a lot, right? So they talk about phony things, right? And there's quite a famous book called The Catcher in the Rye, written by J.D. Salinger. I remember reading that as a teenager. And this word, there's two words that begin with P or PH in that book that are quite memorable. One is a girl's name, Phoebe, is used a lot. And secondly, this word phony. And it's so long ago since I read the book, I can't remember the tale really, but it's kind of a protest against people being phony, you know, against people being fraudulent. And so here are some examples as an adjective: phony cruise ship job offers, right? So you can see what that means, i.e. cruise ship job offers, but they're not the real thing. They're not genuine. And then as a noun, a fraudulent person or thing. It doesn't give me an example there. But one might be, oh, he's a phony, right? Oh yes, Sud is attending your English class, Alan, that's right. But actually, he's a phony. He's not really that interested, right? Sorry for picking on you, Sid, so early in the morning. But you understand the usage there. It's like saying somebody's a fraud, right? Somebody's a fraud. If you say somebody is a fraud, you're saying they're not genuine. That's what we would say in Britain. you know, talking about, say, a politician, or it's often used of people in responsibility. You say, oh, that person is a fraud, right? Americans, to mean the same thing, would often say he's a phony. Phony, right? Okay, right. So that's phony. Next word I have is adroitly. Adroitly. Now, let me first of all check and see, does anybody know what that word means? Adroitly. If you were doing something and you'd done it adroitly, would you know what that meant? Okay. It means in a clever and skillful way, right?
Adroitly.
Adroitly. Okay, he managed the evacuation adroitly, right? So it was skillful. Do you remember the word we did on Thursday that talked about doing something in a skillful way? What was that? Do you remember the word maneuver? I realized that the Chinese students weren't on the class on Thursday because the time doesn't work for you then, but yeah, we did the word maneuver.
With a movement.
Yeah, that's right. Skillful, a skillful movement or series of movements is a maneuver. A maneuver. And we also talked about maneuvers. So Wei-san and Wenjing, if you haven't done it already, you should try if you can and catch up, you know, and just listen to the recording. Oh, you can't listen to the recording, can you? On YouTube? Need to find a way of solving that problem.
Okay.
Wenjing and Wei-san, a wee bit of homework for you is help me find an equivalent of YouTube that you guys have access to. You know, so a site in China that I could use that also has English, you know, so that I can navigate it, because I can't navigate it if it's in Mandarin. But some
Actually,
kind of, yeah.
Actually, I've tried to find the one like YouTube in China before, but the difficult part is the toys should have an English version, but actually at that time I can't find it, but maybe I can try another time with Wilson to do this again and give you some feedback later.
Yeah, I would really like to do that, you know, and then to upload all my content to a Chinese site as well. And then, you know, that would, so, because I think it's so helpful to be able to go back over it again and review it, you know. And, you know, given the fact that the whole class is audio, you could even just listen to it. You don't even have to watch it. I mean, it's an advantage to watch it because you see the spelling. But I would like people to do that so people have the audio, you know. Anyway, so that's a wee problem. You and I can talk about that, Wenjing, another time. We'll carry on with the class just now. Thanks for that. So adroitly is to do something in a clever. Let's look at sentences with this if we can. Adroitly, or yeah, adroitly in a sentence. And so that's quite a good usage there, right? And a very skillful, quick in thinking or movement. She adroitly avoided the question. She adroitly slipped the money into his pocket. More examples. Every scene is adroitly composed. He sells himself as the prudent leader who adroitly steered the country through a recession. The design adroitly marries the old and new styles. So you see, that's quite a nice word. Yeah, I like that word. Adroitly. Okay. I'll move on then. Right. So this is an expression. I want to see if you know. And it's mum's the word. Mum's the word. Does anyone know this?
Nope.
Nope. Good. I love coming up with ones that I think you won't know. That's great. So mum's the word. Okay. Mum's the word is just an expression. And it's got nothing to do with mum as in the sense of your mother, right? But in UK, the familiar term for your mother is your mum, M-U-M. In America, it's mom, M-O-M, my mom, my mom. And we pronounce it differently. So Americans say mom. And in the UK, we say mum. Although in Scotland, they tend to say ma'am. My mom, my mom. Talk about my mom, right? But this expression, mum's the word, it's got nothing to do with any of that. And what it means is, shh, this is a secret, right? So in other words, if I tell Anjali something and say, mum's the word, right? Mum's the word. What I mean is, Anjali, you can't tell anybody, right? This is between you and me, right? Mum's the word. This is a secret, right?
Top level secret.
And this is very, very common, by the way. Yeah. Mum's the word. Said when you tell somebody something or agree with something to keep something a secret. Right? It's very simple, just a little expression, and that's what it means. It means this is a secret. I'm not telling people generally yet. Okay, mum's the word. So if I said to Anjali, look, I'm not telling this to anybody, right? She understands that I'm sharing something confidentially. I don't want her to post it on Instagram or Facebook or share it with her buddies. I'm telling her something we say in confidence. I'll maybe come back and do that word in a moment. And she says in response, okay, mum's the word. In other words, no problem, Alan, I'm going to keep it a secret until you tell me it's okay to share it. Okay. So a similar expression, which is slightly more formal, but both would be used very frequently, is in confidence. Now, you have to say it in confidence, right? It's not the same as confidence. This is the idea, a secret that you tell someone. They talked endlessly, exchanging confidences. See that? If you tell something to someone in confidence, you don't want them to tell anyone else. Take someone into your confidence. To share your secrets with someone, trust him and not tell. I should never have taken him into my confidence. Right? So if Wee Son became my buddy and we talked frequently and became pals, became really good friends, I might take him into my confidence. Into my confidence. And if I've taken someone into my confidence, I will tell them things in confidence, which means I'll tell him kind of secrets, not country secrets, not top secret government stuff. If I had any, I'm not in government, but things that are more personal, things that I wouldn't want to share. I wouldn't want to be sharing widely, but I would share with my pals, my friends, my bosom buddies. Okay, is everyone clear in that? Any questions?
Yes, Kat.
Yeah, good. Thanks, Wee Son. Who is iPhone? I don't know. We've got somebody else on the call. I don't know. Their name's not up. You for your name, you just got iPhone. Who's that? You want to say hi? I can't see your picture and I can't see your name, so I don't know who you are.
Yes, let.
Say again.
I mean, whether it's Alice.
No. In the class, apart from I've got Anjali, Wison, Wenjing, and Sud, who I know, and I've got somebody else who.
She says Alice, I guess. I heard that.
Oh, it's Alice. Okay, yeah, and
Yeah.
she can't speak. Okay, hi Alice. Good to see you. Was that in the chat that I'm missing?
I just guessed.
You guessed well. Good. Your brain's working. Mine's not working. It's 2 early in the morning for me. Haven't finished my coffee yet. You see, I need my coffee to, That's exactly what it is. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, right. Okay, so you guys are all in my confidence. I tell you things that I don't tell other people. Is everybody comfortable with in confidence? And mum's the word. So if I ever say to you, right, mum's the word, I'm telling you a secret, right? Now, another expression I want to teach you, which is a very British expression. I don't think Americans would say this, but we would say this a lot. We would say, as sure as eggs is eggs. And I'm guessing that no one knows what this means, but you all know what eggs are, and you all know what sure means, right? So given you know what sure means, that's really the focus of this. What do you think the expression means, as sure as eggs is eggs? No one? You must be able to make a guess at this. Make a guess at it.
Something obvious, very obvious.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Okay.
It's not exactly obvious. It's something though that is a surety. That something is assured, definitely, right? Like for example, Sud asked me at the beginning when he joined about the weather, and I could have said, I didn't say this, but I could have said, as sure as eggs is eggs, it's going to rain today because this is Scotland, right? And what I would mean by that is it's an absolute certainty it's going to rain, right? As sure as eggs is eggs, right? Let's look it up. It means for certain, right? So you can see that for certain is a little bit different from obvious, right? Yeah. So one day he realized that I was right, as sure as eggs is eggs, right? I'm absolutely sure of it, right? So here's some examples. Can somebody go on mute? I think if that's you, Alice, can you go on mute maybe? There's some noise coming through there. He's dead, as sure as eggs is eggs, right? One day he realized that I was right, as sure as eggs is eggs. She knew, as sure as eggs is eggs, that Kate, bless her, had finally caught herself a man. Yeah. If this doesn't stop, then as sure as eggs is eggs, the industry is going to disappear. Right? You mean he'll lose, as sure as eggs is eggs? Right? You see, in all of those things, you've got this very interesting, slightly humorous combination of words that just means for certain, right? But if you ask me, say I said something, I made a kind of strong statement, you've got some doubt about it, and you said, sir, are you sure? Right? I could say, absolutely. As sure as eggs is eggs. For certain, right? See? That combination, any of those responses is saying the same thing. Absolutely sure. Yes, Sid.
Reassurance.
Yeah, it's an assurance. Yeah. But as sure as eggs would only be said. You wouldn't typically write it, right? You wouldn't write it. You wouldn't write it in prose. You wouldn't write it in a poem. And you wouldn't use it in any formal document. You wouldn't put it as part of your thesis, right? But you and I are chatting, you know, informally. And I say, hey, is it going to be over 20 degrees today in Bihar? You could say, as sure as eggs is eggs. Absolutely. It's always above that temperature this time of year. Okay. Right. So we're working through expressions. We've done mum's the word. We've done in confidence. We've done phony. We've done adroitly. Right. Now here's an expression that I thought about, which was quite similar to one we've done on Thursday. Now, on Thursday, we did this one, repartee. Do you remember that? Repartee?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes.
Angela, remind everybody what repartee means.
Repartee means making witty comments to someone who is my friend. Like I have a rapport built with that person. Then I can
Correct.
make witty comments.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. So this is just a quick recap because then I want to show the nuance of difference between this and another word, right? So repartee, and also for Wenjing and Wison who missed, and Alice who missed Thursday. Repartee means conversation or speech characterized by quick or witty comments or replies. He had a quick mind and a splendid gift for repartee, right? So this gift, right, what we call it a gift, right, as in a God-given gift, right? It's just an ability some people have to be really quick with their comments, right? It just, you say something, they come back with another comment really quick. It's witty, it's clever, right? Sometimes we might say that they're sharp, right? That is very valued in politics, you know, because in politics, there's debate going on. And if somebody is very quick-witted, you know, they can command mastery in an environment like that, you know. So it's a very good gift. It's also, I think it's used in law quite a bit as well. But people either have it or they don't. You can't really learn it, you know. The gift for repartee. Right. Now, so the new word that I want to teach you is regale. Anybody know what this means? Regale? No. Okay. Good. So what regale means is, and you'll see it's a bit like repartee, is to entertain or amuse someone with talk. Entertain or amuse with talk. So he regaled her with a colorful account of the afternoon's meeting. Now, this is mostly what it means, right? There is another definition here, which is to lavishly supply with food or drink, right? It's used less often that way. Less often. He was regaled with excellent home cooking, right? So I went to visit Wison and she regaled me with some fantastic samples of Chinese food in the street markets of Shanghai. She regaled me, right? So she lavishly supplied, right? But mostly it's got to do with talk, right? To regale somebody is to chat away. It's not the same as repartee, right? Right, but it's in the same milieu. You all know what milieu means because I use it a lot, right? It's in this milieu, it's in the same ballpark as repartee. But what repartee is it's the back and forth. Angeli says something and then I say something back really quick. And she says something back to me and I say something back, like table tennis, ping pong, yeah? But we're doing it verbally. That's repartee. But if I could regale all of you at the same time without there being repartee involved. If I just told you about my interesting day yesterday, it was so fantastic. You know, if it was really interesting and fantastic, it really wasn't. I was kind of quiet yesterday and reading all day, studying. It's a very quiet day for me. But if I told you about a really interesting day or an interesting holiday, I would be regaling you. I would be regaling you, right? I'm entertaining and amusing you with talk. Okay, regale, a new word chalked up. If you remember all these words and use them, it's going to make your brain bigger. Right, here's an interesting word I want to teach you. Wistful. I don't want to write it out because you can see what it is. Does anybody know what wistful means? No. Okay. Having or showing a feeling of vague or regretful longing. So people would speak of a wistful look, right? As she departed for France, she looked back on England with a wistful look. Yeah? So that's a longing look, is the idea there. Right? And so look at these words here that are similar: regretful, nostalgic, yearning, plaintive, rueful, melancholy. You might know some of these words, you might know some of them. Melancholy we've done, right? Melancholy just means sad. Yeah.
Yeah, and nostalgic also, it's very common.
Exactly. Nostalgic. So Wenjing has nostalgic feelings about Edinburgh because she spent 2 years of her life there, right? So when she sees pictures of Edinburgh, she has a feeling of nostalgia, right? You could say wistful also. Not necessarily regretful because, you know, she wants to go back to China, her real home. So she maybe doesn't have regrets, but she's still got nostalgia. Yeah. Hopefully that helps. Wistful. Right, let's look for wistful in a sentence now. She was wistful for a moment, then asked, "Do you remember the old playground?" He had a wistful look on his face, right? See, it's looking back. It's looking back with a little bit of sorrow. It's tinged with a little bit of sorrow, right? The artist had been one of my mainstays this year, as has this song that's equal parts lovely and wistful. While very much a feel-good movie, there's a wistful melancholy. Look, that's using two of those words together, right? A wistful melancholy that ebbs and flows throughout as well. This idea of longing and looking back and so on. Wistful. Let's look at the definition in Merriam-Webster. Full of yearning and desire, tinged. There you go. They've used that word tinged there. I just used, right? Tinged with melancholy. I'm going to do the word tinge now, because not everyone might know it. What does the word tinged mean? Tinge.
Or very little, or as we say, we use this expression, an iota of something, an iota of happiness or something.
Right. Okay. So that's another good word. We'll do that in a minute. Tinged is often to do with color, right? So what color is it? It's kind of white, but it's tinged with a little bit of gray, right? It's tinged. So in other words, it's slightly different, right? What does your coffee taste like? It tastes pretty good, but I think it might have been a wee bit hot, so it's tinged with a wee bit of a burnt taste. It's tinged, you see? So in other words, it's got a little, there's a little thing that's affecting the whole. Yeah. I was out at a big funeral the other day, and there was 300 people at it. And so when I come back, I thought, oh, there's a danger here from COVID. So I'm going to gargle with a little bit of antiseptic. And I looked up on the web, best thing to use, and it recommended iodine. And so I took a little bit of iodine, like just a drop, and put it in a glass of water. And then I gargled with it, right? Now, it was just a little bit of iodine, but it completely colored the whole glass, you know, when it mixed through it. So it tinged it. It tinged it. And the taste was disgusting. It was gross. It was like drinking antiseptic.
What is the color of iodine, by the way? I think it's silvery brown.
No, yeah, you're thinking mercury is silver. Iodine is brown.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting. It's one of those, it's a trace element. You need it. Your body needs it. Your thyroid needs it. It's really important to have it. And apparently in most of the world, they're deficient in it. I think if you eat seafood and sea product, you can get iodine that way.
Even our salts are iodized as well. Like they use it as a marketing gimmick, iodized salt instead of a plain salt.
Right. So let's look up tinged, and then we'll do iota, which you suggested. Maybe indirectly, Anjali. So tinge, right? A slight staining or suffusing shade or color. Right? Slight, small, tinged. An effective or modifying property or influence, touch, a tinge of guilt, right? He didn't feel really, really guilty, but he felt slightly bad because he had said something to offend Weeson, right? He said something. And he felt a tinge of guilt, a little bit of guilt. Then as a verb, to color with a slight shade of strain, right? You can also say tint. To affect or modify a slight odor or taste. Well, that was the example I used, didn't I? When I talked about the iodine, just a little bit, just a droplet. I want to say an iota in the water, it colored it, the whole thing. To affect or modify in character. That's interesting. Okay, so I think we've got tinge. We've got tinge. And let's do Anjali's word, right? Iota. Now, iota happens also to be a letter of a particular alphabet. Does anybody know what language that is? It's a letter from an alphabet. Anyone? No? No? Okay. Then look at the definition here is an infinitesimal amount, right? An infinitesimal, right? Infinitesimal means a really small amount, right? And it's also one of that's what I was trying to get at there. I was trying to see if anyone would guess that it's part of the Greek alphabet, right? So everyone's heard of Alpha and Delta and Omicron because of COVID, right? But it's the 9th letter, right? And
Just a second.
iota.
Omicron is a letter as well.
Yeah, it is. Yes, yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah,
wasn't aware.
in the Greek alphabet. Yeah, and but what they're not doing is they're not working through it consecutively, right? They're just picking letters, right? So whenever there's another variant that is significant, they'll pick another letter. Now, iota, the reason it's being used here in this sense is iota is just like a little, like an apostrophe. It's like an apostrophe, right?
It's like an I guess, because we have
Yes.
studied it in mathematics. It means under root -1. Did you get me?
I'm processing.
Okay.
Old brains work slowly, you
Actually,
see. So when I just suddenly freeze, I'm thinking of what you're saying. I need to see that written, right? I need to see that written. Let me finish my train of thought a little bit now. Now, it's also comparing it to a jot. So there's an expression here, a jot or a tittle. A jot or a tittle, right? Now, a jot is the same thing, really, right? Both ultimately derive from the same word. When Latin scholars transcribed Greek, the name of the 9th letter of the alphabet, they spelled it either iota or jota. The letters I and J were simply variants of each other, and these spellings eventually passed into English as iota or a jot or jot. Since the Greek letter iota is the smallest letter of its alphabet, both words eventually came to be used in reference to very small things. Okay. So do you care about, how much do you care about that, Alan? Not a jot. Not a jot, right? That's a common expression. That means not at all. I don't even care a little bit, right? I don't care about that, right? Not a jot, right? So if I'm saying iota or jot, I'm meaning the same thing. And now you know the history there. I couldn't have repeated that. I knew they were related, right? Because in the Bible, it says not a jot or a tittle, right? And that's the reason, right? Well, I'll look that up for you and show you that as a matter of interest in a moment, right? So it's not a title, it's a tittle. A point or a small sign used as a diacritical remark in writing or printing, a very small part. See that? So if I say not a jot or a tittle, if I say not a jot or a tittle, I'm saying nothing small, not even a little bit, right? Okay. Here's some examples of that in a sentence. We have examined every last tittle of evidence available and can find nothing to support his claims. So every last tittle, right? The very smallest amount, right? We've really looked at this. There's not a tittle of sense in that book, right? There's no sense in it whatsoever, right? Now let's look up the expression that I was thinking of, because I often think of how they're used in the Bible, right? Not a jot or tittle. So this comes from Matthew 5:18, right? And this is what it says. So in the King James Version, which is the most common version of the Bible, although it's old, it's from 1611, it was translated. So it's the English translation of the Bible, right? In this verse in Matthew 5, it says this: "For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass away, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled." See that?
I have a very silly doubt over here. What does unto mean? I have seen this word a lot, but I've never like Googled it.
Unto.
Yeah.
Unto. Unto is another way of saying to. So I say to you, right? But unto you, yeah. It's interesting. See, I would never have noticed that because it's just so familiar to me. But for us, unto and to are the same.
Yeah, but we don't use it in our regular conversation, unto. We use to, right? I thought it's
what did you do with that thing I gave you, Alan? I gave it on to Anjali. Yeah, so we would say it, but obviously you maybe don't say it in India.
We don't.
That's
We don't
interesting.
say it.
I didn't know that, right? I didn't know that. Good catch. Good catch. So we'll maybe come back to that in a minute. But is everyone clear what that means there? Not one jot or one tittle. So what was happening there is the one jot is the smallest letter in the alphabet, and the one tittle is like an apostrophe, right? And what he's saying is nothing will pass from the law, right? Till it's all fulfilled, right? And that's till heaven and earth pass away, you see? So what the Lord Jesus was doing is he was using analogy there to really emphasize the point. And he used things that people would understand, okay? Right, so that's one jot or tittle, which we got to from tinge, because let's come back full circle to what Anjali said. What Anjali said is not one iota, right? She used it like that, meaning not even a small thing, right? Not or an iota of something, a small amount of something, an iota. So now you know it's a Greek alphabet thing. As a final, by the way, since we're sort of talking about how it's used in the Bible, which often demonstrates good usage in English, is one of the titles of the Lord Jesus in the Bible is the Alpha and the Omega, right? The Alpha and the Omega, which is the first letter of the Bible and the last letter. Sorry, the first letter of the Greek alphabet and the last letter, right? The Alpha
like
and
A to Z.
What?
It's
Yeah.
similar to A to Z. We have A to Z.
Exactly. It's like saying the A to Z. He's the beginning and the end, right? The beginning and the end. So it's a title. So good thing to know, the Alpha and the Omega. And that is kind of used a little bit as well in English, because we would say things like, oh, that's the Alpha and the Omega of the matter, right? What we mean is that's the whole thing. It's the beginning and the end, the Alpha and the Omega, right? We don't say, but we would also say it's the A to Z, right? So there used to be a famous atlas you could buy, which I think was an American atlas, and it was the A to Z. It was the A to Z atlas, right? In other words, it's got everything in it, right? The A to Z. But we would also say the Alpha and the Omega as well to indicate the same thing. Let's look that up. Actually, it's a good thing to have under your belts, right? Alpha and good if I spelt it right. The Alpha and Omega, the first letter is the Greek alphabet, and the title of Christ and God in the book of Revelation. The pair of letters is used as a Christian symbol and is often compared with the cross. Interesting. Okay.
Sorry, what was that? Comparison with cross?
Yeah, I didn't see that. And it's often combined with the cross, right? I mean, I've never seen that. Right? I've never seen that. But definitely this expression here, Alpha and Omega, is very common. And this is what they look like. Alpha is the same as our A. And the omega, I guess, is a bit like an O.
Yeah, we use that in physics a lot. Omega is the
Yeah.
unit of, it's a symbol for resistance.
Yes, of course, Ohm's law.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Apart from
it's a while since I've done electronics. Yes, Sid.
yeah, apart from where Anjali actually pointed out rightly, I have seen it people using it into naming of the fraternity houses in the college.
Okay, interesting.
Alpha fraternity, Omega fraternity. The most of the movies are the scene last scene.
Right, interesting. Okay, so anyway, so you know where it comes from? Greek alphabet. The most famous book in Greek is the New Testament. So you get biblical things coming through there. Okay. Right, we got onto that from wistful. We did can't last time, we won't redo it. Right, here's an expression I want you to look at. To leave someone in the lurch. Ever come across that? To leave someone in the lurch?
Yep.
No?
I've
No?
heard
Okay. Well, this is a
No.
fairly common expression.
to leave someone the way they are.
Or to lie
Neil,
to
you're
someone,
very
to leave
warm,
someone in the
Judd.
dark. Okay.
You're both warm, not 100%. Okay. And let me just welcome Shiromi. I see Shiromi has joined us here. Hi, Shiromi. Nice to see you. Hope you're following. Feel free to ask any questions. Hi, Shiromi. You going to say hi? I'm not hearing you if you're saying anything.
She's on mute. If she's
No, I thought she
speaking.
came off mute there. I thought she was going to speak. Doesn't want to speak. Okay. Jerome, feel free to speak and ask questions. Right. Leave someone in the lurch means to leave someone abruptly and without assistance or supporting them when they're in a difficult situation. That's what it means. See? So it's like I was driving down the road and I came across Anjali and she was stopped because she had a tire burst on her bicycle. What did you do, Alan? Did you help her? No, I left her in the lurch. I just left her. Sorry. Bye.
I
hope
know
you get it
you
fixed
would
soon.
not do that in the real life.
I would never do that, right? Never do that, right? So, but that's what it is as an example of what it means, right? To leave someone who you really should be helping, right? Is to leave them in the lurch. They're in a difficult situation and you're just leaving them, you're not caring, right? Okay, so it's good. We're learning. Okay, now this next one, I'm wondering, have I done it? I'm not sure. Let me just ask first of all. Brass monkeys or brass monkey?
There's brass dogs, but brass monkey, no.
No. Okay. Good.
But I was not present in the class.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't think we've done it then, right?
یعنی چی؟ یعنی که تو دوران سخت تو یکی ول کنی.
براس مانی میشه؟
ها؟ نه leave him for your lunch time give lurch بچه بود. این یعنی که تو دوران سخت یکی ول کنی.
Do you want to go on mute for me? Okay. So I don't think that's Alice, guys. I don't know who it is. Anyway, I'm on. Yeah, Alice told me she couldn't come actually today, which is why I wasn't expecting her actually. So brass monkey, right now. Used in phrases to refer to extremely cold weather. It's brass monkey weather tonight. Now, you would never have guessed that.
It has been used ironically because monkeys don't tend to sit at a place and just tend to move around. But if you are made of a brass, the monkey is just kind of behave like a statue. So in weather, you don't tend to move around.
Right,
In
right,
the winter weather.
right. So, yeah. So let's look at a couple of examples of this. Right. What does the term brass monkey mean? Let's look at this up. Extremely cold weather, expressions such as the brass monkey weather, the usage is derived from hyperbolic, right, which means exaggerated, phrase cold enough to freeze the nose or the tail or the balls, etc. See that? That's a picture of Dublin there, I can tell you right now. The earliest instance of the phrase I've found is in Straggler's Notebook, in the Morning Herald, New York City, 1838. And they used it like this, which was cold enough to freeze the nose off a brass monkey. There you go. So this is quite old. It's not 1600s, but it's a couple of hundred years old. This as cold and senseless as the toes of a brass monkey in winter.
Oh, I think they are referring to a monkey which is made up of brass alloy, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. To freeze a brass monkey's tail off. Yeah, because I don't know if you'd have this in India. I imagine you would, but obviously we have figurines, right? Decorating buildings over here, often made in masonry, out of stone. But we also make them out of brass, you know. So if you see a figure of a horse or something like that, or you know, monkeys is one of the things we use to decorate things, right?
Also it's science over here. I mean, metal has a very low melting point, and brass is like mixture of metals.
It's copper and something, isn't it?
Yeah, brass and copper. Brass, no, sorry. Copper and zinc, I guess.
Right. Right. Okay. I know it's a very hard metal anyway. Cold enough to freeze a brass monkey. Okay. So we've got the idea. You'd never guess it. You have to know it. Brass monkey, anything to do with brass monkey means it's absolutely freezing. Which we know a lot about in this country. And the other expression that we would use that's in the same milieu is Baltic. It's Baltic. Because obviously the Baltic Sea is north of Russia and is very cold. Yeah, very cold, that sea. And so we would just say something is Baltic. What's it like out there? It's absolutely Baltic, right? Absolutely Baltic means it's freezing, right? It would freeze the nose of a brass monkey. Right? Okay. Right, here's a good word. Prescient. Prescient. I better not type out too much here because it just tells you the meaning. Anyone know what prescient means? No. Okay. This is a good word. Having or showing knowledge of events before they take place. So think of it like pre-scient. So scient, like science, is knowing something, and pre-scient is knowing beforehand. So you would pronounce this as a prescient warning, right? Right. So somebody gave a prescient warning about the tsunami in Tonga, right? Somehow they knew beforehand, right?
Prescient.
You hear that? Prescient. Prescient.
Prescient.
Different from premonition, by the way. We'll look up premonition in a minute, right? Prescient in a sentence. That anxiety is not proven to be prescient, meaning somebody was anxious, they had anxiety about something, but in the event, it wasn't a problem, right? Right. So it wasn't proven to be prescient, right? It wasn't justified, in other words. He will end up being proven prescient one day. So somebody's saying something here, I don't know what it is, it doesn't give the context. And they're saying what he is saying is right, right? So whoever he is saying something about the future. It's always got to do with the future, right? And somehow knowing the future or being able to predict the future, which obviously we can't do, right? But if it seems people can, right? You know, if they're warning, so that an economist predicted the downfall of the economy in country X, right? And that was prescient, right? The poem was composed just a few months before her death and seems eerily prescient. So the poem seemed to predict something about her death, right? And it seems eerily prescient, right? So in other words, it kind of almost foretold what was going to happen. The motto is eerily prescient. It's quite interesting to see how the word eerily and prescient are being used together twice, right? And that begs the question, do you know what the word eerie means? Eerie. Okay. See, we're learning lots of stuff. So eerie means strange, frightening, makes you feel nervous. Synonyms: uncanny, strange, frightening, ghostly. Monrovia after the fighting is eerily quiet, right? Monrovia. So there was fighting in the sense of a war, battle, guns, bombs, right? But afterwards, it was eerily quiet. And so it was quiet, but the quiet was eerie in the sense that it seemed strange, unusual, eerily quiet, eerily, okay? What was the word that said I would come back to? I forgot what it was.
Untrue.
No, I think we've done with that one. There's another word I said I would come back to. Can't remember what it was.
Yeah, you said
Something similar to prescient.
Something you said.
Oh, premonition. Good shout. Yeah, it was premonition. Thank you, Sid.
So,
Premonition. Does anybody know what a premonition is?
deja vu, kind of like.
Wow. It's not the same as deja vu, but it's in the same milieu, right? Deja vu, which is a French word adopted into English, means I have a sudden sense that I've been here before. In this exact situation, it's like I suddenly feel I've just been here before. That's what deja vu is. Deja vu. Premonition is not the same. Premonition is a sense about something that's going to happen. So somebody could have said, I was on Tonga and the birds suddenly went all quiet. The birds are normally singing in the morning, and suddenly the birds were quiet. And I had a premonition that a tsunami was going to come. What does that mean? It means I had a sense, almost like a sixth sense, that something was going to happen. A premonition. Premonition. So we'll come back to déjà vu in a moment. A strong feeling that something is about to happen, especially something unpleasant, right? He had a premonition of imminent disaster. See that? Other foreboding is another word. Foreboding, right? Foreboding. Intuition. Feeling. Hunch. Suspicion. I love all these words, right? I had a feeling, right? But feeling is not necessarily positive or negative. It's just a sense, right? Same as intuition, right? I sort of thought about this. Foreboding has got a negative connotation. Foreboding means I've got a sense about something. There's a wonderful piece of music called Finlandia. And Finlandia is short for Finland. And if you listen to it, as the music builds, there's a tremendous sense of foreboding in it. And the foreboding is a fear of Russia taking over Finland. And you can hear it in the music. Very interesting, right? So slight aside here. We're not into music. So there's Finland, and here's Russia, right? And so if you're bordering Russia, obviously that's can be a threat, right? And so Sibelius is the author, right? It was composed in 1899, right? What's the story behind Finlandia? Finlandia has its origins in political protest. It was written for the Finnish press pension celebration of 1899, a thinly veiled rally in support of freedom of the Finnish press, then largely controlled by Tsarist Russia. Sibelius's contribution to the three-day pageant was a set of nationalistic music tableau. Okay. Now, to really understand this, you have to go and listen to the music. So if any one of you is interested in music, you know, go onto YouTube or your equivalent in China and find this music and listen to it, right? It's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. And you can...
What's the language?
Well, it's orchestral.
No, I mean, what's the language? It's English.
What language?
Basically the music, like you see in the background scores of the movie that they play. So those are orchestrals.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. If you can't find it, I'll look it up for you in Spotify and send you a link. But it's lovely, beautiful music, beautiful music. But there's a bit in it where there's a real sense of foreboding, right? A real sense of it. You can feel it, right? Premonition, foreboding, something bad's going to happen. Oh dear, you know what I mean? Very interesting. I to be able to express something musically is a very rare gift, right? And that guy could do it, right? But you got to listen to it to appreciate that. Okay, I think we're probably about out of time now, guys. Probably finish up. We've done a few extras as we went through there. We'll do one more word, right? One more word. And the word is deftly. Deftly. Anyone know what that means? No.
Is it depth and ly suffix in the end?
I'll spell it for you, right? That's the word.
No.
Deftly. Okay, let's look it up. In a way that is neatly skillful and quick in movement. So you see, we've done a few words here from maneuver through to today that are touching on this idea, right? We've done adroitly, and we did maneuvers one day, and now we're doing deftly, right? In a way that is neatly skillful, it's an adverb, and quick in movement. Her fingers moved deftly, quickly parting the grass. In a clever way, he had deftly handled the flack he'd received.
Deftly.
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 Deftly. He caught the vine deftly and grinned. Bill tossed Carmen's supply package to Alec, who deftly caught it. Right? He stopped at the last stall and deftly lifted the bucket over the gate, placing it on the door with ease. Right? So you can see it. He's doing something. He's doing a maneuver, right? He's doing a maneuver, but deftly has a sense of delicateness about it, right? You admire the motion, you admire what happened. She swept, not objecting, when Han deftly lifted her and carried her back to her room. His sleeves were rolled up, and his sinewy, hairy, red hands with their short fingers deftly turned the ramrod. Okay, deftly. Deftly. That's a good word. Not incredibly common. You wouldn't hear it every day. Okay, well, nice to see you all. Thanks for coming. Hope you enjoyed.
Thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
Early in the morning.
Yeah, no problem. Wenjing, you can get in touch with me about some site that I could navigate and get access to.
Yeah.
And I'll see if I can get, I'd love to upload all my lessons to a site in China as well as YouTube for my Chinese acolytes. There's a good word we've done early on, acolytes. Acolytes are those in training.
But they can use VPN as well to access YouTube, right?
I don't know. I think that's discouraged.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do anything that encourages anyone to do anything that is frowned upon. No, I'd rather just make it available. There's nothing political in any of this, right? So, okay. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Bid you adieu.
Thank you.
You bid me adieu.
Thank you.
I'm impressed. You see that man bid me adieu? Did you see that? He bid me adieu. What is, right, for the star prize, what does adieu mean?
I bid you goodbye.
It means
Goodbye.
it means goodbye, but it comes from something. It's what language does it come from, first of all?
French.
Is it a French
Correct.
word?
Correct.
French.
So 2 stars for this boy. He said adieu, and then he said it was French. But what does it really mean at its core? It means something.
Bid you fair life ahead, a good.
That's what it means. That's what it means. But strictly, adieu means to God.
Oh, yeah.
To dia, God in French. And remember what the Spanish say, adios. Adios, right? It means to God, right? But there's so it's like saying, it's like bidding somebody to God. It's like saying bye-bye, but it's bidding them farewell, like, you know, the blessing of God on you. Adios if you're Spanish, adios. And adieu if you're French, or adieu. I'm sorry, I can't really do a French accent. Adieu. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
I'll,
bye bye. Happy Sunday. Enjoy your day.
Thank you now.
Bye.
Bye.